those large deals, they can kind of push through even in a market that might be a little more mixed. Once we see some success in big deals, more small deals will follow, and when those hit, that's when the floodgates will open.
Hello, I'm John Generone, Editor-in-Chief of IPO Edge. Thrilled to be back at the New York Stock Exchange for the 2025 IPO Summit. I've got with me Ben Heriaud, who is a partner at Vinson and Elkins in capital markets. Ben, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, John.
So Ben, big day today, lots of people here. We're talking IPOs. 2025, I mean, we've been saying this for a while now. It's supposed to be a new wave of new listings. What are you hearing out there?
We're hearing the same. I think starting in the fall, we saw a lot of uptick in folks reaching out, trying to think about the market. We've already seen some of that early this year. A lot of folks coming to market. Admittedly, a little bit of a mixed reception. So that's going to play into the rest of this year. Back half of 2025, particularly if we can get some success stories, we're going to see a big pop.
Nice. So if you look out here, it looks like we've got a new listing today. Carmen, that's a defense company. Is that sector or any other sector jumping out at you as one that could be big this year?
Yeah, there's a lot of different sectors we're focused on, but three I'm really excited about for this year are tech. You know, the AI wave is here. There's a lot of companies out there that were ahead of the news and ChatGPT and others. Industrials, people are onshoring, people are building in this country again. And there's a lot of companies that are trying to build businesses here. They're going to need capital.
You know, Ben, something that I hear pretty often is that, we just talked about sectors, but what about size? I hear that larger deals are likely to go and then smaller ones would follow. Or do you have the same feeling about things?
Well, I think that's right. There's a lot of large deals out there. There's at least a couple in the pipeline that are going to be really big. And so those large deals, they can kind of push through even in a market that might be a little more mixed. Once we see some success in big deals, more small deals will follow. And when those hit, that's when the floodgates will open.
Let's talk about Texas, where, of course, your firm is headquartered in Houston. There's been some recent news about the New York Stock Exchange launching NYSE Texas. Tell me what you think about that.
Yeah, well, we're very excited. There's a lot of focus in Texas. I spend a lot of time talking to companies down there. And the general sentiment is Texas is open for business. And that has to do with a lot of factors. But one thing that I've been hearing more and more is there's a huge workforce there. They're engaged, they're ready to work, and they can do work in these businesses, whether it's tech, industrials.
You know, it's interesting. We've seen a number of companies either re-domicile in Texas from California or talk about it, even Facebook, right? So are you seeing more of that happening too in the near future?
Yes, it's been a very interesting trend. Delaware had a market position that was so dominant for as far as I can remember. But that is really changing, and it's changing fast. So we're hearing a lot of inquiries about that. There's a lot of things to think about. So it's not something to be made quickly.
Well, what about Florida? Because that's my home turf. I feel like the tax structure similar there. Do people talk about Florida too, or is Texas the focus?
I think Texas is the focus. I've heard some Nevada. That's also getting some publicity. Texas is doing a lot to lay a groundwork that makes it work for companies. They have the new business courts that they opened in the fall, and so we're really interested to see how things play out as those get more active.
Okay, so we've got a new administration, a new head of the SEC. There's a lot of talk about it being Paul Atkins. What does that mean for IPOs?
Yeah, we'll see what the new SEC commissioners do and the new chair. But the SEC can't bring IPOs to market. They sure can stop them. And what we've seen, unfortunately, over the last several years is an inability to have the predictability you need to get an IPO over. An IPO is a long-term transaction. You don't just launch it in a day. And when people don't have an SEC they know they can work with, it makes it difficult. So we're excited to see if that changes.
Ben, before I met you just today, I'd worked with your colleagues quite a bit back during the SPAC boom.
Sure.
What does the new SEC think about SPACs? The old SEC didn't like them, and they did a pretty good job of snuffing them out.
Well, it's funny you say that. There was definitely a huge backlash regulatory-wise and frankly in the market against SPACs. But if you look at last year's SPAC activity, it was back where it was before COVID. So I think SPACs are a product that's going to be there. I do not think it will be the dominant product that it was for that couple years.
Something that we've been focusing on a lot as SPACs kind of went out of the picture is private equity and talking about private equity portfolio companies going public. What's your view on private equity right now?
Yeah, we're very bullish on private equity. It continues to be more and more money going into private asset classes. And a lot of those private equity firms need to bring companies to market, whether it's an M&A or IPOs. The slower IPO market of the last few years has made that difficult. And so our private equity clients are really excited about the opportunity to bring great companies to market.
How does that look? Do they usually take a multi-track, approach to it to see which terms look best?
Yes. Private equity sponsors are very savvy and they want to find the best deal. And so they're always going to focus on optionality. If they think there's an M&A opportunity and an IPO opportunity, they're probably going to pursue both.
I'm going to give you an open question here, Ben,
Sure.
to wrap this up. What are you most excited about in 2025, your new role here at V&E? What's got you excited?
I'm really excited about Texas and frankly, the power boom that we're seeing. The numbers are staggering. ERCOT, which is the Texas grid, is looking to have peak demand double in 6 years, not 60, 6. So if you think about the amount of capital and the amount of work that's going to need to be done to facilitate that, it's going to be incredible.
All right, Ben, we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been a fantastic interview. I'm John Janarone, Editor-in-Chief of IPO Edge. Just had Ben Heriaud, a partner at Capital Markets at Vinson & Elkins, signing off here from the New York Stock Exchange.